1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Trying to solve a perplexing murder case that's filled with contempt, betrayal, and malicious intent, forcing you to draw circles around the most suspicious person, giving you motives to each one of them and fogging the background, allowing you to get distracted by tossing baits at you so you get caught up in the rabbit hole and slowly getting further from what's conspicuous, decorating the criminal with coincidence to make him look guileless. Now, a guy like me working with 2 brain cells in his head got the chance to watch a fair amount of movies. And if you watch a lot of movies, you kind of create your own technique where you can find great movies. For me, I just follow great directors. When I watch any movie, I immediately check out the past projects that the director worked on and watch them so I can fully understand how this director views filmmaking. I came across a movie called Looper, directed by Rian Johnson. One self-explains it as a representation of what I call retrofuturism. I wanted to see more of what Rian makes, so I watched his 2019 project called Knives Out. That movie blew my mind. It brought back the hype for the mystery crime genre, sprinkled with Tarantino cinematography and an unforgettable set of lines. Casting a group of actors with great chemistry on screen, I got hooked up and I wanted more. And somehow just Ryan heard me and answered with a trailer of a movie called Glass Onion, a Knives Out mystery. I'd be lying if I said I was only excited. I was overwhelmed with positive energy. I wanted to see what element would Ryan change to make his movie as amusing as the first one. The movie Glass Onion is about the greatest detective Benoit Blanc got invited to attempt to solve a murder case in Miles Bronze Island, a genius billionaire with his friends, bunch of shitheads, that he deliberately invited some of them. But when you think about it, this movie's about Among Us? So what you're telling me is this movie is a visualization of a game, and you can find the similarities in the second act of the movie where the lights go out and the imposter goes to work. I mean, it sounds cool. This movie managed to deliver the same feeling that had us shook in the first one, but did it really do that? Now, of course, with every new murder case, we get introduced to new characters, and the fun thing about that, they might seem like a group of complex characters, but they're way simpler than you thought. Representing Glass Onion as a new thing by disconnecting it from the first one is a great idea. Ryan almost perfected everything in this movie, giving us clues we'll never notice till we watch the movie a second time. This man mastered the skill of making the audience go, oh yeah, now I get it. Whoa, because it's, oh, what makes the Knives Out duology really good is the tiny little details we won't pay attention to. For example, when Miles was given his BS speech about like the meaning of disruptors, at least that's what I thought when I was watching, but he was telling us how the end of the movie is going to be like. Ryan welcomed the newcomers, and he didn't forget about the previous fans of these movies, so to thank the fans, he added Chopper Wagner. I mean, he worked with them on like in Looper and past projects, so that's why they probably know each other, so that's why. Both Knives Out and his sequel cost the same amount of money, but they figured out how to make the scale of it look bigger. And that by itself tells you how good of a writer and director Ryan is. And not forgetting about the people who actually picked the location, so shout out to them. Judging the whole picture, this movie's amazing. Now it's time for me to be mean and dissect every minute detail. Now I'm going to take it as slow as possible, okay? The first act of this movie is the most painful thing I've ever watched so far. It always goes back to the way they wrote the characters and how the characters were presented by the actors. The subtle change in the filmmaking method changed a lot of things in this movie. The scale of this movie just ruined the whole cozy atmosphere they forged in the first one. Making Benoit Blanc only an observer and getting rid of the interviews and the seamless sound design that cuts to different scenes kind of switched the way I felt towards the movie. The characters they've written down had the potential of being lovable and believable, but the reason why they failed at it is because of the casting choice. The cast in Glass Onion is a downgrade compared to the first one. And again, they had better chemistry, that's it. Hey, what about Bautista? He did a great job. I'd rather keep my opinion of Bautista's acting for myself. That's it. Just to be clear, the acting wasn't as good, but they killed it. Edward Norton, Daniel Craig, and Janelle Monae were clearly the stars of this movie, with Janelle playing 2 characters and adding something to each one of them. The cinematographer Steve Yedlin worked with Ryan on multiple projects prior to the Knives Out movies. Watching Looper, I've noticed that Steve has this thing about his movies where the lighting is kind of flat, but at the same time flavored with rim lighting and lens flares. Steve loves to play with the camera, especially with dolly shots and filling the whole screen with like beautiful spectacles. Steve and Ryan kept the soul of the movie when it came to the cinematography, but I wouldn't say they improved anything on it. The message that Ryan conveyed through his movies is that money can blind people. The uncontrollable urge to conquer and own drives people crazy, forcing them to commit heinous crimes. A small amount of people thought that the ending of Glass Onion is not satisfying, and the characters are just two-dimensional, and I kinda agree with them, but isn't that the point? To mock Hollywood and the big influential political figures? This movie is a mockery on the most willfully ignorant rich people. You know what? Forget about that. Let's just go back to the rating. My rating for this movie is a 7 out of 10. There are a few things I didn't like about the movie. Most of them were just creative decisions and micro details in the performances, but the writing, the cinematography were astonishing. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, but yeah, drop a like and do something else if you like me. Yeah.